Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In our today's video, we are going to see about something very interesting that every person would like to hear. That is why Apple products are so costly. For example, if you see, Apple launched it iPhone 12 series a month before, I guess, and their high-end version, the iPhone 12 Pro Max, was priced at like 1,59,900 or 1,60,000. Or if you want something recent, Apple launched it Apple AirPods Pro Max, which was priced 2 days before, which was priced around like 60,000. Would you even buy a headset for 60,000? Comment it below. So guys, in this video, we'll be seeing about the strategy used by Apple. So before starting with the video, I will just say some words said by Mr. Ford in US. For a layman or for a farmer who owns a horse, if you ask him what do you want more, he will just say, I want a horse faster than this. But for the same farmer, if you make a supercar stand in front of him or a car stand in front of him, he will say, I don't want this horse, I want a car. By these words, he says that humans or each person doesn't know what their need is. They just they just impressed by what they see. So guys, now let's begin with the video. For example, if you see, for the first time, computers were launched by Apple. And one more thing before we are starting with the video, we know that Apple products are so costly. They didn't start selling products so costly by few years or very few years or not like that. It has been, they have worked a lot. They have worked very hard for this, selling the products as this costly point, the uniqueness, the product design. We will not get in any other phones. So now let's begin with the video. If you see, Apple was the first company to launch PC, the personal computers. But later, Apple launched its own laptop. For example, this is known as killing their own product. Apple follows this policy in each one of their product. So the main thing why they launched a laptop was PC was not so portable. If you see, nowadays also, many of them use laptops. They don't buy a PC because laptops are very portable, but PCs are not. The next thing, or the second thing, what Apple did during those times, when Apple entered the music industry, it created a revolution. To say, in those days, music music hearing aids, like the small thing was the music players. Every company was selling that. They say they have the company did marketing, like they said they have 8 GB of memory, 10 GB of memory. I'm saying in those days. But when Apple launched it, AirPods, they said if you buy this product, 5,000 songs in your pocket. So for an ordinary layman, if you go and say him, we have 8 GB memory, 10 GB memory, he will not understand. But for the same layman, if you go and say, if you buy this, you can get 10,000 or 5,000 songs in your pocket, then he'll be impressed by the number. Obviously, he'll go to buy that product. This is one more strategy used by Apple. In the same time, they killed their own AirPod and launched it as an app. To say, when they launched their phones, they bought an app known as iTunes instead of their iPods. This killed their own product. If a survey taken says that only 20% of smartphones of Apple are sold in a year, but in the same survey, if you see, 60% of smartphones profit are taken by Apple. So what is now many of us will have a doubt, how only 20% of phones are sold and they take 60% profit? Here in Apple has a very good theory. For example, like this is not an example, this is the truth. When we do this, when we buy an iPhone, the first time when we boot it up, while setting up, giving your personal information, the last step or somewhere in the middle, it asks you your credit card or debit card details. If you give this, if you observe clearly or like very keenly, every month some amount of money will be taken from your account from the Apple. This is because Apple never gives any apps free, but in Android, if you see, if for example any app you take which is a paid app, or any game, it's a paid game, you can get the crack version of that game using any third party website. But in Apple, in the Safari browser, you can't use any third party apps to download their crack versions, and even Apple don't have their apps crack versions. So Apple, like, if you want to use a newspaper, if you want to read news in Apple phones, then you should subscribe to your to their news app, and you should pay money for it. For example, even in iTunes, you should subscribe it to get music. iMovies, everything is like in Apple, nothing is free, everything is paid. The next thing, if you see in other smartphones, for example, if you take Samsung, when Samsung launches a phone, they say this phone is faster than Apple. And even one more thing, Samsung has phones in every segment, like 10K, 20K, 30K, 40K, 50K, 60K, 70K. Like in every segment, Samsung has phones. But Apple, if you go for, they have phones only above 60K, because that is the luxury or the premium which we get in Apple. I was saying about the launches of phones. If you see, in Apple phone launches, they don't compare any phones with any phone brands with their own brand, because if we compare any other brand with their brand, then we should do better than them, what they do. So if we observe in Apple launches, they just say this is better than the previous phone. Like if iPhone 12 launch is happening, they will say iPhone 12 is better than iPhone 11. They say the camera is better than iPhone 11's camera. So they just for a person who is using iPhone 11, they are just urge him to buy iPhone 12, because it is an upgrade of iPhone 11. It is what to say, they just say all the good features of it, and they make him to buy, somehow or the other they will make him to buy that phone. And another thing, even the recent launch of the Apple, for the first time Apple launched it, iPhone 12 mini. So if you see what is the use of this mini, for example, a person who is firstly for the first time he is going to use an Apple phone, then he will not be ready to use the iPhone 12 Pro Max. So this is a very very budget iPhone 12 series phone. So if he buys that phone, and if he likes the iOS software, the next time when the iPhone 13 is getting launched, he will get very very excited, and he will go to buy the iPhone 13 Pro or Pro Max, because already he has used the software, and he can do that. The same thing, if you see, you can never compare an iOS phone with an Android phone. For example, if you have an OnePlus phone and if you have an Oppo phone, you can compare these two phones because they use the same Android software. This is if you give money, Google is the founder of Android. Their policy is you give me money, I give you the software, you can use it anytime. But Apple is not like that. If you want to use Apple iOS software, then you should only buy an iPhone, so that only that time you can experience that features. And once you buy an iPhone, you will not get an idea to again switch to this one Android phones, because the premiumness in iPhone you don't get in any other phone. Like in the starting I said, the design, finish, the camera quality. And one more, in Android phones, if you see nowadays, in some Android phones it is 108 megapixel, or even for a very low price we get like 64 megapixel. For example, the phone in which I am shooting the video now, it is Realme 6. It has like a 64 megapixel camera, but the cost of this phone is like 16k. And the recent class, the Note 20 SE Fan Edition, the cost of like the same this one that camera that is a 108 megapixel camera, but in Apple iPhone 12 Pro Max or even in iPhone 11 series, they just use a 12 megapixel camera, but they tune the software to that extent that 12 megapixel is better than the 64 megapixel, 48 megapixel, or even the 108 megapixel. They are so keen in like making the software so looking so good. So guys, that's all in this video. I guess I have given you a lot of information about why Apple products are so costly. Meet you all in the next video. Until then, bye.